So tonight, Amy and I decided to do a series, if we could, on cooking from your pantry, which basically does mean budget cooking, because you're using ingredients that you have on hand, right? You're not going out and eating every single night. You're cooking from home, you're eating more healthily. And on our website, we have a little box where you can download the pantry resource guide, but Amy also printed it out for you if you guys got it. Now, everybody's pantry is created differently because everybody likes to cook and eat different things, right? But this is to give you an idea of what does that mean, a well-stocked pantry? You know, does that mean I have spices in there from 2 years ago? And, you know, yeah, that probably does mean that, right? But we're going to say that tonight, we're going to say that it's the new year, and any spices that you have that are older than 6 months should be thrown away. The spices get old, and the time in the kitchen is so scant, I guess. You know, I mean, you really get in there and you want to get in there and you want to get out, and you want to have a nice meal, you want to do it fast, and you want to make it worth it. You want to be healthy, and you want to be real, and having fresh herbs and spices will only help to elevate your cooking. Having a well-stocked pantry means having what I call a like a purposeful pantry. You know, it's something that's going to work for you. It's not a bunch of crap shoved into a cabinet or a freezer or whatever. It's something, it's all ingredients that you like to eat and that you like to use in your cooking. So I divide it on here, you'll see I divided in refrigerator, freezer, produce, canned goods, dry goods, and then herbs and spices. So when we're talking about a pantry, we're not just talking about dry goods storage. We're talking about things in your freezer, things in your refrigerator, you know, herbs and spices, all sorts of things we're talking about when we talk about a pantry. So let's just breeze through real fast, and I'm just going to give you some, just some thoughts, okay? So the idea is that you have a nice pantry that's full of purposeful things that you like to eat, so that you can come home and with maybe even a little forethought of the night before, you can make something for dinner that's healthy, that's reasonably quick, and that you don't need to run to the grocery store to get ingredients, okay? You don't need to drive yourself crazy following the ingredients on a recipe. You just know that you have some stuff and you can make something because you have a skill. You know how to saute or you know how to grill. Okay, so I always have milk and eggs and some hard cheese. Now with that and a little bit of skill, you could make a souffle in 30 minutes. You know, you could, it's really that easy, and you could have a really nice, elegant meal with a little bit of salad, maybe, you know, a nice little salad on the side, and there you have it. Or you can make an omelet very simply. Or you can make crepes really easily. There's a lot of things that you can make with milk and eggs and a little bit of cheese. So I like the hard cheeses, like I say, because they last a long time. And if they get a little moldy on the outside, you don't need to throw away the whole piece, just cut off the mold. Other things that I like to keep in my refrigerator, those are like my staples. And then the other things I like are things that have a really good, powerful flavor. So capers and pickles and roasted red peppers and sun-dried tomatoes and olives, and things that you can add to your cooking that are going to take it, you know, a mile ahead as far as flavor goes, and you don't have to do a lot of the work. You know, so like if you're harvesting all of your basil in the summertime, pesto is a really great thing like that. And you put that in the freezer, you know, and you have it, and it's really great flavor, it's really nice and fresh, and it adds a lot of value to your meal for very little effort. Okay, so I like those powerful briny anchovies, if you like, you know, briny, salty things that can really add value to the things that you're making. Okay, in the freezer, I always have bacon in the freezer. And because I think that bacon is it's one of those powerful flavor things. You know, it's smoky, it's salty, and it's a fat medium. You know, and if you're going to saute something, you're going to need some sort of fat. And so you could choose it to be bacon fat, or you could choose it to be olive oil. But bacon is a really great thing to have because it's, like I say, a powerful flavor. So I always have that, and it's really easily defrostable. You just chop it up and put it in your pan, and it can be the base for any soup or any saute or, you know, any roast or any braise, you know, anything like that. It's just going to add that nice smoky, salty flavor. And then as far as meats in the freezer, I don't like to have a lot of meats in the freezer that, well, let me say it this way. Meats in the freezer. I think the best kinds of meats to have in the freezer are ground meat. Because what happens when you freeze, like that beautiful piece of beef tenderloin you get, right? It's $25 a pound, and you get it, and you decide you don't want to eat it, so you're going to put it in the freezer. Well, what happens to meat when you put it in the freezer is, like, you know, the meat is comprised of all these little cells, right? Just like we are. And the cells have moisture in them, water. So you put that in the freezer, and the meat freezes, and the cells expand, right? And then, okay, fine, it's all good still. But then you go to defrost it, and have you ever noticed when you defrost a piece of meat on a plate, you get all this moisture on the plate? So what's happening is all those cells that have burst open now are releasing their moisture. So it's fine, it's not going to kill you, you can totally eat that piece of meat, but it's not going to be moist and juicy and as tender as you would as if it was fresh. Okay, so I don't freeze expensive cuts of meat that are like a beef tenderloin. I do freeze all sorts of ground meats, lamb, beef, pork, anything like that I'll freeze, because when you go to make that, you're not going to notice the textural difference, right? You're going to make a meatloaf, you're going to make a hamburger, you're going to make something like that where you're adding other liquid to it, right? And or you're going to make bolognese, or you're going to, you know, you're going to add liquid, so it's not going to be so noticeable. I also will freeze things that have like high fat, so like chicken thighs. You know, they have a high fat content, so when you defrost them and they lose some of their moisture, it's not so terrible. And I'll freeze things that I know I'm going to braise. I'm going to cook in liquid. So I'm going to sort of rehydrate them, if you will. But, you know, chicken breasts, yeah, that's not such a bad idea. But the bottom line is, have some things, some proteins in your freezer that you can work with, you know, and you take it out of the freezer the day before, you put it in your refrigerator, it defrosts, and then when you come home, you can make something with it. And then, of course, short doughs, which we'll talk about tonight, those are really great. You know, any, like a little pie dough is great to have in the freezer, because as you'll see, it's just really simple to take out of the freezer, simple to make, really simple to take out of the freezer and fill with anything that you have. And I'm going to give you some ideas of that. Nuts, of course, you know, and, you know, if you make your own stock, that's great to have in the freezer. And of course, cookie dough. I always have cookie dough in the freezer because, you know, after a hard day, what is better than a cookie, a hot, fresh cookie that you just slice off a piece from your log and you bake it in the oven. Even if you're only one person, you bake it in the oven and you have a beautiful, warm, hot chocolate chip cookie. And that just makes the day better, right? Okay, produce. All I'm going to really say about produce is I think it's really important to have things around that last, that you don't have to always be going to the grocery store. Some things you're going to have to go to the grocery store. It's not going to last. You know, beautiful, delicate lettuces are only going to last a couple days in the refrigerator. But you can buy the onions and the sweet potatoes, and especially this time of year, you know, all those squashes like we'll do tonight. Things that last, like I think zucchini is pretty good. I think bell peppers are pretty good. Those are great things to have in your pantry because you can cut up a pepper, you know, zucchini, put in some herbs, deglaze with some wine, you add some broth and toss it all with a pasta, and then you have a really nice meal and some feta cheese on top or something. You know, it's just really simple and easy and fast. You want to have some nice, you know, some oils and some vinegars, different things. Like you can make a really simple salad dressing, and instead of just using lemon juice and olive oil, which is what I always use, you know, if you had a hazelnut oil or a walnut oil and you had a little sherry wine vinegar, now you've got like a whole different, you're in a whole different country. You know, now you're in Spain and it's so, you know, amazing. You could do orange zest in there, or you could do, you know, a little bit of mustard to emulsify it together, and you can, you know, put that on your salad. So you have like, and then some nice walnuts that you've toasted that are in the freezer or something like that, and some nice grated cheese. So you can really elevate your salad, you know, by just having a few extra ingredients that you like. The great thing about being able to cook from your pantry is that it's really affordable because you can buy whatever is on sale. And the good thing about having a skill and knowing how to saute or knowing how to grill or knowing how to roast is that you can buy what's on sale. You don't have to buy what the recipe says. You can buy what's on sale. You can go through the grocery store. You can see what your heart is saying you want to eat. And I have confidence that I know how to cook it because I have the skill. I have a pantry that's pretty well stocked. And in the Kitchencue DVDs, just so you know, we do have those tables that are grids that show you ingredients that go together. And I put those in there because a lot of people already know how to cook, but need inspiration and variety. Like, how many people make the same 20 things? What do they say? I think they make the same 20 things over and over again, right? I hope I've armed you with some good stuff to go forward. So thank you for coming. Thank you.